Hi, this is Steve Gilligan, and I want to talk with you for a few minutes today about some upcoming workshops that I'm doing on the topic of systemic trance work. This is a new development, a new evolution in the work that I've been doing, so I'm really excited about it, and I think you might be also. So I want to tell you a little bit about it. Systemic trance work is basically involved with the question of how to help people create very, very positive lives. So it's all about creativity, how one can create fantastic communities, how one can create fantastic personal relationships, how one can be able to create communities in the world that really, really work, how people can create really positive, rich, rewarding work life for themselves. So, in terms of this question of creativity, practically speaking, what we look at is that all reality is constructed, all reality is created, that consciousness is creating all reality, and that this constructive process is being mediated by filters, and that systems are some of the most basic central forms of filters through which reality is being constructed. So a system, generally speaking, we could describe it as some sort of field of interconnected, mutually influencing parts. So it's really a part-whole pattern that is connecting in many, many, many different ways. Obviously, your culture is the system. Your family is the system. The way that you hold your identity, how you organize around the question, who am I and what is this world, that map is systemically organized. So through those filters, if you will, a reality is constructed. And depending on the patterning of those systemic filters, a reality can be constructed that is fairly impoverished or negative, that's violent, that's filled with persistent suffering, or a reality can be created that is really, really rewarding, really positive, really creative in many, many different ways. This difference, obviously, is the difference that we're working with as therapists and as coaches. When people come to see us, they're generally interested in two interrelated questions. How do I let go of my suffering? How do I change what I'm doing that is hurting or hurtful? And B, how do I create something really positive and really fantastic? So systemic trance work is interested in practically answering that question in a positive way. So on the one hand, we have this idea of systems, which are these matrices, these filters through which a reality is being constructed. And then on the other hand, we have this sort of more modern, evolved understanding of trance as a creative field that can be able to produce transformation. So that's where the systemic trance work comes in. So in this particular view, trance is seen as this experiential field that can simultaneously hold multiple contradictory parts. So whereas the conscious mind tends to focus on one thing, one part of a system, the creative unconscious in a trance can open a space where the whole system can be downloaded, if you will, and to hold it in a creative, fluid way. so that each piece of the system is sort of in this resonant, fluid patterning, which can allow it to change in a lot of different ways. So in systemic trance work, we're identifying a person's goals, their intentions. We're identifying the different systems that are connected to that, around a goal, around resources that could be used to achieve that goal, around the perceived obstacles that seem to block or divert movement towards that goal. And then we open this experiential space of trance where we can let all of those different systemic parts be able to sit in some sort of fluid way. Then what we're looking to do is see how we can make shifts in that system. One type of shift is taking parts that have been held as negatively, as wrong, as bad, and transforming them as competencies, as resources, as integrated parts of an overall positive system. The other type of change is changing the relationships of the different parts. So an obvious example would be in a problem-based system, you've got different parts of the system that are in conflict and they're sort of canceling each other out or in some violent relationship. So what we're looking to do is to operate in a way of shifting those violent relationships to places of creative nonviolence. So once these systemic shifts have been made in a generative trance, then the final step in the work is to see how a person can re-enter their world of experience and be able to move in new ways, create different outcomes, so forth and so on. So that's a little bit of an overview of what I'm calling systemic trance work. I say it's I'm really, really happy with how the work is unfolding. I'm really, really happy to be able to teach it. So I invite you to come to the workshops, and I hope to see you in the trainings. Bye for now. Bye-bye.